Hey guys, this is Coach Bill with Steelman Fleming Allen, and I'm here with today's helpful hint. So, we always get a lot of questions based around nutrition. We do nutrition coaching. We've worked with hundreds of different clients, and they always want to know how much of this, what are my macros, this and that. It's actually a lot simpler than you think. So, I'm going to cut this down to something very, very, very basic. First is how much protein do we get? So, let's talk about our macros and why protein is the king of the macros, right? So we've got macronutrients being protein, carbs, and fats, right? Those are your big three. Protein, with its little crown there, is going to be king of the macronutrients, right? So if you're just hearing that term macronutrients, but you've probably heard the term macros before, that's what it's short for. So why is protein king? Number one, it's going to keep you full. So out of all of the macronutrients, protein is the most satiating. So meaning if I'm going to eat more protein, especially in the morning, I'm going to be less likely to be hungry throughout the day, which is going to stop certain cravings from happening and stop me from getting that convenient food, such as like driving through the drive-thru. Number two, it is not a great fuel source. However, it aids in muscle building and repair. So our main fuel source is carbs, followed by fats, right? Carbs burn the fastest, then fats. Protein takes the longest to burn, right? So it burns the hottest. Essentially, that's why when guys get in a group, we all go to the Brazilian steakhouse, we all get the meat sets because we're literally eating meat faster than we can digest. So it's not the best fuel source. However, and I put this in quotations here, when paired with resistance training, right, it is going to aid in the muscle building process and the muscle repair process, right? So the people that eat a high protein diet, they're going to build the most muscle, which is going to burn the most fat, and then they're more likely to keep the muscle in the lean tissue that they have on their system. Number three, high protein diets do help promote fat loss. Again, when paired with resistance training, right? Now, high protein diets can be good for you no matter what. However, you're going to burn that much more fat when you're doing exercise. Everybody knows this, right? Resistance training is going to be the meat and potatoes of your training cycle, or like what you should be doing, okay? And if it's not, you need to come see us. Number four, high protein diets do help stabilize blood sugar levels, right? So this kind of goes along with, this is a very basic overview, right? And I'm sure some people are gonna be like, well, bro, that's not what I would tell so-and-so. This is for the general public, right? So this is not taking into account some of our higher end athletes. Everybody is contextual, like everybody has their own specific needs. And that's what working with a trainer does. That's what working with a nutritionist does, right? So when somebody comes to us and they want nutritional training and physical training, we work with them, we coach that person, we meet them where they're at, and we provide the macros that are for them, right? So big question is how much, right? So how many grams, right? And I'm using grams in terms of this, right? How much should I take in for the day? So I've got three different strategies. They go from like the easiest and least complicated all the way down. Again, this is Gen Pop, the most basic information. So again, without context, I'm not going to get in any arguments over like, well, that's not what I would do, and I've heard this and this. Literally every client is completely different, and that's how we treat each of our clients based around nutrition. Is going to be a little bit different. So tactic number one, aim for your goal weight in grams. So what that means is, let's say I'm 225-pound male and I want to weigh about 180. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim for 180 grams of protein every single day, and that is a good, easy ballpark figure. Not only that, is that if I can focus in on that one thing, I don't necessarily have to worry so much about the carbs or the fats just yet, right? They can almost be interchangeable depending on, how you're doing them. So that's the simplest, right? I'm 225, I want to weigh at 180, freaking eat 180. Number two, I'm going to aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of body fat. This has been around forever, right? When I was in high school and I was wrestling, playing football, this was like the go-to, from the coaches. Just eat 1 pound of, 1 pound or 1 gram per pound. So if I weighed 135, I needed to eat at least like 135. This does work, and it's very, very simple, right? So it is taking a lot of the nuance out of it, but for most people, they don't need nuance. They're not even starting. So we need to start somewhere. Protein's almost always where we start. So although this isn't necessarily like blanket terms for everybody, it is a very good place to start. And for most people, they don't even have a range to begin with. They don't even have a baseline. So this is fantastic. And then number 3, this is just kind of a good scale, right? Aim for 0.6 to 1.2 grams per body weight, okay? I've got the little arrow going to 0.8 because out of the hundreds and hundreds of people that I've worked with over the years, that is a great place to start, especially for someone who is obese. So if they're weighing 300 pounds and they're very, very high in body weight, what am I going to do? Tell them to eat 300 grams of protein? Like they don't eat near enough protein anyway. So again, like we have to meet the client like where they're at. So 0.8 is a great place to start. Honestly, for like hyper obese people, I'll even go down as low as like the 0.6 because again, those people tend to have other habits and other eating issues beyond just numbers, right? If it was as easy as just, plugging in a number in that, everybody would be able to do it. That's just not the case. But I do like 0.8, right? Because some people have a hard time in the beginning taking in the protein because again, we want to use real food for this, right? We don't just want to be drinking shakes over and over. And I kind of put this down there. We want to try to use as much of real food versus shakes / supplements as possible. One, because you're just going to get more micronutrients, vitamins and minerals and such. So like as an example, like red meat is going to be very, very high in iron, right? If you're deficient, especially if you're deficient in something like iron or magnesium or something, you're just not going to get that in a protein shake. Now, what protein shakes are great for is that, hey, they're a great supplement. So I eat my main meals and that, and you know what, I'm going to be working for a while or I'm going to be on the road for a while. This is a great way to get, 20, 30 grams of protein in and keeping me full a little bit to allow so that I don't, go through the drive-through or hit a weird hunger pain or craving, right? So to put a button on this, aim for your goal weight or go somewhere between 0.6 and 1.2 grams of body grams per pound of body weight. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, feel free to drop comments as far as like comments and topics that you would like to see. And for anybody that wants to work with us and get the results that we've gotten hundreds of other people, you can drop us a DM and head into Steel Mill CrossFit and we'll get you taken care of. Have a great day, guys.